Wall Street indices end sharply lower after the dramatic sell-off in artificial intelligence name. Nasdaq and S&P 500 registered the lowest close since September. The CBOE Volatility Index posted the highest close since April, and the U.S. economy added more jobs than anticipated in the month of September, although unemployment rate unexpectedly rose. Asian markets track Wall Street, a reversal in AI stocks and trade with cuts. The GIFT Nifty is also indicating a lower start for the Indian market. Crude prices slide as U.S. pushes for a Russia-Ukraine peace deal. Meanwhile, gold prices fall as strong U.S. jobs data dims the prospects for a December rate cut. And TCS partners with private equity giant TPG to pump 18,000 crore rupees into its data center business. TPG will invest over 8,800 crore rupees for a minority stake, and TCS will own 51% of the joint venture. Mahindra Group targets organic growth of 15% to 40% across businesses till 2030, aims to be the world's fastest growing SUV brand and the top light commercial vehicle brand. For the first time ever, the 14 CEOs of various businesses come together on CNBC TV 18 to share their blueprint. Hello, good morning. You've tuned into CNBC TV 18. You're watching Power Breakfast with me, Vinny Motiwala. Let's start by looking at what the Asian markets are doing, right? We were expecting a happy Friday, but that doesn't seem like the case given that what's happened on Wall Street. Now, Asian markets are mirroring what's happened on Wall Street. So look at Taiwan index. That's around 2.7%. Hang Seng trading with cuts of almost 1.7% as well. Whether you look at the ASX 200, the Nikkei, nothing is managing to hold on to good gains in today's trading session. And especially in the yesterday's trading session, all those AI stocks were doing well. Now, all those AI stocks today have reversed completely, which is leading to the fall in today's trading session. Let's look at the KOSPI. That's down almost 3% in today's trading session, more than 3% actually. ASX 200, 1.4%. So Nifty implied open. Let's look at that, right? While yesterday was a good start, today we're seeing a muted start. Actually, red is what we'll be keeping an eye out on. And 32 points downtick is what the Nifty implied open is indicating as of now. Let's talk about the U.S. market. Like I was mentioning, right? Wall Street that ended sharply lower. This came in after that sell-off was sparked in all those AI stocks again. Now, Dow shed nearly 380 points. S&P 500 lost almost 100 points in yesterday's trading session. Nasdaq tumbled 490 points as well. We have CNBC's Bertha Coombs now joining us to give us a wrap on what's happened on Wall Street.
U.S. markets were down across the major indexes Thursday, giving up big early gains as a bump from Nvidia evaporated. And investors turned negative as jobs data raised uncertainty about an interest rate cut from the Fed next month. The Dow, which had a 1,000-point swing during the session, closed down 387 points. The S&P 500 fell by 103, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq lost 486. The long-awaited September jobs report was released Thursday, showing 119,000 jobs were added during the month. That's more than double the forecast of 50,000. But the underlying numbers, showing nearly 90% of the jobs were added in just two industries, social assistance and leisure and hospitality. And revisions for July and August also shaved 33,000 jobs off of those payrolls and showed that the economy had also lost jobs back in June. According to the CME's FedWatch tool, the report sent the probability of a December rate cut down to about 40%. And Verizon announced layoffs Thursday of more than 13,000 employees as the telecom giant says it needs to reorient the entire company. The new CEO, Dan Schulman, wrote in a memo to employees seen by Reuters that the company needs to simplify operations and wrote that the current cost structure limits the ability to invest in the customer value proposition. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back over to you in Mumbai.
Thank you so much for that. But let's also listen into the former Fed Vice Chairman for Roger Ferguson, what he had to say on the latest job reports and what might be the impact in terms of Fed's decision.
I think all these numbers suggest an economy that's still hanging in there, not a dramatic move one way or the other. People should take note of the slight uptick in the unemployment rate, but labor force participation still looks pretty strong. Average hourly earnings certainly looks strong. or strong enough. And so I don't think this sort of tilts the cut decision much one way or the other, frankly. Anyone can look at this and find what they want in it, but overall, I think this is a sign of a labor market that's hanging in there and an economy that's hanging in there against the background, as you pointed out, of equity markets that seem to be rallying.
Now, veteran hedge fund founder Ray Dalio believes that investors should not sell just because there is a bubble. Advises market participants should look at to diversify their portfolios. Listen in.
A lot can go up before the bubble bursts. A bubble is an unsustained set of circumstances. It has unsustained amount of buying.
Right.
It has an unsustained amount of valuation. It has, and then there's something that pricks the bubble.
Is there a way to sustain this, though?
You can't look at, don't sell just because there's a bubble. Okay? Don't sell just because of a bubble. But if you look at the correlations with the next 10 years' returns, when you are in that territory, you get very low returns.
Now, Ed Yardeni, president at Yardeni Research, says that issue of AI bubble and quality of tech companies will continue to be a challenge. Listen in.
Well, I think this issue of AI bubble and how the GPU chips are depreciated and the quality of earnings of some of these tech companies will continue to be challenged. But I look at their revenues, and the revenues, you can't really doctor that, and the revenues kind of speak for themselves. They're absolutely awesome. And so I'm sort of in the camp that believes that this too shall pass, and I remain bullish on the market because I think overall earnings are pretty good. I mean, financials certainly have delivered great earnings. Industrials are doing extremely well.
However, Nvidia CEO, he's rejected the talks of AI bubble and said that they see something very different. Listen into what he had to say on the earnings call.
There's been a lot of talk about an AI bubble. From our vantage point, we see something very different. As a reminder, Nvidia is unlike any other accelerator. We excel at every phase of AI, from pre-training and post-training to inference.
Okay, that's all the US market update, global market action that we have coming in for you all. But how is all this going to be impacting our Indian market? What are the important cues that we are keeping an eye out on today? We have a team of research, as always, to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for, as well as cues in the world of F&O. First up, let's go across to Vivek, who's going to set us up for trade, tell us the important market cues as well. Good morning, Vivek.
Well, good morning. As expected, and like you started off the show with, you have to remember that a lot of conversation today will be dominated by the fact that there are fears that a bubble is building up as far as the AI space is concerned, and that could have a rub-off as far as even the Indian IT space is concerned. US indices, especially in the second half of the session, reversed sharply and ended sharply lower, especially the Nasdaq ending up significantly lower in the session today. Along with that, oil prices fell marginally. The Brent was down 0.2%, but Bitcoin, in fact, sold off quite sharply at the lowest level since April, and gold prices too moderated overnight. Now, coming to the Indian markets, the outperformance, relative outperformance compared to EM peers continued. Indian markets ended with gains, but cooled off from the intraday highs. In fact, the mid-cap underperformance ensured that the market breadth was actually in favor of the declines. What is it that we're watching out for today? Well, there is a listing that is Capillary Technologies. Along with that, a couple of important block deals. I expect both of them to happen in the window itself. So Max Financial Services, where the promoter is exiting, and AWL Agri Commodities, where you will see the Adani Commodities actually making a complete exit. Asian markets, GIFT Nifty, all tracking very weak overnight cues from the US markets, all indicating a small gap down start for our markets today.
Okay, absolutely. A slight bit of a gap down start, right? From where we started the show, it was around 39 points downtick. Now it's just 9 points. So let's keep an eye out on where the Indian market is going to be opening, right? But let's move on and go across to Upasna, who's here to tell us which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. Good morning, Upasna.
Good morning, Winnie. First up, let me start with TCS. Now, TPG Terabyte and Hypervolt, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the company, they have entered into a subscription agreement. This is for the development of data center in both AI and non-AI applications. Now, both the companies, that is TCS and TPG Terabyte, to invest up to 18,000 crores in Hypervolt in the coming year is what the company has indicated. Next up is Godrej Properties. The company has surpassed its FY26 business development annual guidance with acquisition of 75-acre land parcel in Nagpur, and company says that the project will have a revenue potential of as high as 755 crores. Next up is Hyundai Motors. The company has further invested 21 crores as the second tranche in FPELTN Wind Farm Private Limited by way of a private placement. Next up is GSW Energy. Even that is in focus as the company gets approval for corporate insolvency resolution plan of Raigarh Champa rail infrastructure. Next up is GE Shipping. The company has delivered its 2005 built-in medium-range product tanker, and the vessel was contracted for sale in October 2025. Alchem Laboratories also in focus as company has launched a probiotic DSS in India for gut health management. Zaggle Prepaid also in focus as company has entered into an agreement with Biba Fashion Limited. 361 WAM is the next one as the board has approved incorporation of wholly owned subsidiary for carrying out fund management in GIFT City. Now let us look at some of the key block deals according to our sources. Now Max Financial in focus as according to sources, Max Ventures is likely to sell about 0.5% stake via block deals, and the offer size is nearly about 270 crores. And lastly, AWL Agri also on our radar as according to sources, Adani Commodities is likely to sell 7% stake in the company via block deals. So all in all, we'll be closely watching out for all these stocks today.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on all those stocks in today's trading session. But let's finally go across to Sudarshan, who's here to tell us what are the important cues in the world of F&O that we should be keeping an eye out on. Good morning, Sudarshan. We managed to close about 26,000 yesterday comfortably. But today, what is it that we should keep an eye out on?
Good morning, Vinny. So it's Friday and the global cues that we are getting are very weak. US markets saw a sharp sell-off. But the key question for today is, will we mirror global markets or it would be different for us? So the answer is, till the time Nifty holds 26,000, we don't think we have to worry about anything. Also, as far as domestic cues are concerned, it's looking much better than what we are getting from global cues. So first, I'll tell you about in the index futures, FIs continue to remain on the buy side, though buying figure is very small. It was just around rupees 405 crore. Longs, they have just added 26 long positions and reduced short positions by around 2,000 contracts, and their longs exposure remains around 12%. On the short side, it continues to be around 88%. Now come to the options data, what has happened. Why I'm telling you that 26,000 is very important level. So for 26,000 call, we have seen that almost 45 lakh shares were shedded. So basically that much shares have come down. At the same time, premium was around 270. But 26,250 call has seen premium rising further. In the contrary, on the put side, both 26,200 and 26,100, both the put options saw premium falling. Now first support for Nifty will be around 26,000. If we manage to hold that or breach that 26,000, next support comes around 25,850. Resistance will be 26,250. For Nifty Bank, support will be 58,300. Resistance would be around record high of 58,500. Two stocks are in the band, SAIL and Sammaan Capital, and some of the stocks have seen fresh longs and fresh shorts. SRF has seen fresh longs, Bajaj Finance has seen fresh longs, Amber Enterprises and Biocon have seen fresh shorts. Also keep an eye on. At the start at 6:30 a.m., GIFT Nifty was down almost 80 points. Currently, it's down just around 8 to 10 points. So keep an eye on that as well.
Absolutely. We will be keeping an eye out on that. Thank you so much for that, Sudarshan. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. After the break, we'll get you updates from the White House in a special segment, Trump Watch. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now getting you the latest update, and this is all Trump-related developments that we have. We have Dia joining us in our special segment, Trump Watch. Over to you, Dia.
Good morning. Starting off with a major escalation in political rhetoric, U.S. President Donald Trump has called for a sedition trial against a group of Democratic lawmakers. He says they should face trial and even the death penalty after they released a video urging intelligence and military officials to disobey any orders that would break the law. This is the latest flashpoint in the increasingly tense standoff between the White House and Democrats. Meanwhile, on the global front, Ukraine says it is moving forward on a new U.S.-led peace proposal. President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed he has agreed to work on a draft peace plan prepared by the U.S. and Russia. His office says Washington believes this plan could reinvigorate diplomacy. Zelensky is also expecting to speak with Trump in the coming days about this very proposal. And back in the U.S., Trump is set to host New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. The meeting will take place at the White House on Friday and will be the first official interaction between the two since Mamdani's election earlier this month, with the focus expected to be on how the city and the federal government can work together. That's all for today. Now back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dia. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. After the break, we'll get you the cues in the world of commodities. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now, as M&M holds its Investor Day with 14 CEOs and business heads under one roof, we got in touch with Anisha, Group CEO and MD of Mahindra Group, about their 5-year plan. Listen in to what he had to say.
We did mention to investors that we would look at one new area in the next 12 months with a very high bar. We had exactly the same slide that we put up a year ago. And at that point, we had said insurance is one area we would look at. We have gotten into insurance in a space where we feel we can create very meaningful value for our shareholders. And similarly, if we find a space we can create meaningful value, we will look at it. We do play in 70% of India's GDP growth over the next decade. And therefore, our current businesses have huge room to go. And you're seeing that room to grow with holidays. You're seeing that room to grow with many of our other businesses. We've also talked about organic growth. Organically, we've grown 25% a year for the last 5 years across the group, despite being in some tough industries as well. And we plan to grow 15 to 40% organically for the next 5 years across businesses.
Okay, and with that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Power Breakfast. But look at the Nifty implied open, right? When we started the show, it was down 38 points. Now it's just down 14 points. And from the opening of Nifty implied open, it was down 80 points and now just 14 points. So we have seen that recovery coming in. But we'll watch out for where the Indian markets actually open in today's trading session. As of now, a decline of 14 points. Up next, your Bazaar Morning Call. Don't go anywhere.